Now, this is the wrestling video this week. I'm shooting the videos back to back, as I always do. Because one puts me in a better mood to talk about the other one. I was going to talk about CM Punk. Because I don't like CM Punk, and I think CM Punk is spoiled and has an entitlement attitude. Not going to talk about that, because better things have gone on this week. More important things. And there are two things I'm going to talk about this week. One is the passing of Mae Young. Mae Young has passed away. And two is Ultimate Warriors being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. If you want to know my opinion on the WWE Hall of Fame, I made a video about it. I'm going to put a link in the description if I remember. If not, remind me. That's my opinion on the Hall of Fame. This is more my opinion on the Ultimate Warrior being inducted. First, Mae Young. We all know Mae Young, because Mae Young has been a staple on WWF TV for the last 15 years or so. You know, her and Moolah were buddies, and they did a lot on TV during the Attitude Era, and even during the 2000s they'd keep appearing. And then Moolah passed away. And Mae Young is older. She was in her 80s, I think. And so she's lived on, and she's competed in the ring over 5 different decades. Now that is incredibly impressive. Or it might be 8 decades. Let me see. I don't know. Oh, she was over 90. She was over 90 years old. Which is really interesting. I mean, I'm going to talk. I can't. It's not telling me a whole lot. So she won multiple titles. 9 different decades. She wrestled in 9 different numerical decades. Wow, I was really off. I have a Wikipedia page open for her because I'm going to talk about some of her title reigns and stuff. Because she was a very, very prominent female wrestler. She wasn't a diva, because let's face facts, divas can't wrestle unless your name is Trish Stratus or Lita or Molly Holly. She was a female wrestler. Now, she started wrestling during World War II, when female wrestling became popular because, you know, the men were away overseas. And so she wrestled during World War II and even during most of her young adult life. And while she was never as big a name in WWE as Fabulous Moolah was, who was the WWE Women's Champion for like 30 years, she was a big name in wrestling. She mainly wrestled in NWA. And she won the NWA Florida Women's Championship, the United States Women's Championship, the Women's Tag Team. She's in the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame, which is not the WWE Hall of Fame, but the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame, which actually counts. And she's in the WWE Hall of Fame. But, you know, we all remember her, though, as the weird old lady with Fabulous Moolah. And we remember some of the many, and she did a lot of crazy things. Just because to entertain us that she didn't have to do, but she did them. And she was very entertaining as that. And her most famous storyline from the Attitude Era, and I think from the last 15 years, is giving birth to the Hand with Mark Henry. You know, she's dating Mark Henry, he's sexual chocolate at the time, and she gives birth to a hand. We all remember this. If you don't remember it, look it up on YouTube. I'm sure it's on there. It is weird as hell, and was just like a fuck you over the storyline. but it was absolutely hilarious looking back. Another thing she did at the 1999 Armageddon is she got ready to flash the crowd because Miss Kitty flashed the crowd, and so Mae Young was going to flash the crowd. And she did a lot of goofy stuff like this, and she'd get in the ring and she'd wrestle a bit over the years. But, I mean, I think she'd rather, well, I don't know how she'd want to be remembered. I'm going to remember her as the goofy old lady. Because I haven't seen a lot of her matches, but I know she was a very popular professional female wrestler. And so I know that she was popular. I know she won the titles that I listed. But we will remember her as the goofy old lady, and it's sad to see her pass. So R.I.P. Mae Young. We will miss the goofy old lady on TV. As for the Ultimate Warrior, the Ultimate Warrior is going into the WWE Hall of Fame. I don't have as much to say about the Warrior as I do about Mae Young, thank God. Because I rambled for 6 minutes on her. We all know who the Ultimate Warrior is. If you don't know who the Ultimate Warrior is, look up who the Ultimate Warrior is. Watch his promos. I swear he was on fucking crack in the 80s and 90s. He was the first wrestler on crack. But he'd run down to the ring and he'd shake the ropes and he'd dance around the ring and he'd be all crazy. Maybe he wasn't on crack. Maybe he was on speed. But yeah, that's how he worked. And he'd give the most insane promos ever heard. I mean, I swear, I can follow about half of them. But they're insane, and he's snorting, and he's talking up in the air, and he's staring against walls, and it is just positively, it is insane. The guy has great charisma, and his intensity is just off the freaking charts. He is more intense than the Macho Man could ever dream of. But he is just batshit insane. Now, the other thing with the Warrior, well, first, the Warrior was originally played by a man named Jim Hellwig, who has legally changed his name to Warrior. Have to throw that in. Legally changed the name to Warrior. Now you gotta look him up, because that is just a level of insanity that no one else will go to. The Warrior in the ring, though, I have watched numerous matches of his. He was the most sloppy, one of the worst in-ring workers I've ever seen in my life. Truly one of the worst I've ever seen. And I've watched him face Rude. I've watched him, slam Heenan, Bobby Heenan, and I swear he's going to kill someone every time I watch one of his matches. Because he is that fucking bad. He really is. I mean, I've railed on Kofi Kingston for botching. Ultimate Warrior was 100 times worse. I mean, people didn't even want to work with the guy because of his botching. And because he was so dangerous in the ring. And he injured a lot of wrestlers. And it's scary how bad he was. Yet, he'd go up against like Rick Rude or Hulk Hogan or Macho Man. And these guys could carry him to a good match. And thank God his matches with Andre was short. Because you can see Andre is ready to kill him at the end of these matches. Because he is so bad in the ring. But he is so insane on the mic and has so much intense that's unreal. So yeah, he's going into the Hall of Fame. And this is a company who, a few years ago, it's surprising because not only was he horrible in the ring, I mean, just god-awful. But a few years ago, the Ultimate Warrior made, or not the Ultimate Warrior, but WWE made a DVD called The Self-Destruction of the Ultimate Warrior, which pretty much just was an hour and a half of bashing the Ultimate Warrior and saying how utterly terrible he was. I have watched it, and that's what it is. Look up on YouTube. It is completely unprofessional, and just WWE just bashing this poor man for an hour and a half. And now he's going in the Hall of Fame. They're making a new DVD showing his best matches, which is him for 5 minutes shaking a rope, because he had no best matches. He was horrible. And so it's just really surprising because of that. The man is you have to go watch his matches. I'm not putting links in here. I'm sure you can find an Ultimate Warrior match. I'm sure you can find an Ultimate Warrior promo. Go check this out and then realize, and then go watch The Self-Destruction of the Ultimate Warrior. It is on YouTube right now. And then realize this man is going into the Hall of Fame. It is fucking unbelievable. He was a world champion. It's just insane. Well, that's all for this week. Goodbye.